And this was supposed to be the handbook of it. But as you read this book, I think you'll see that it really isn't teaching you a lot about yoga as such. I mean, you would need a guru or someone probably to teach you, which is the name of a teacher of yoga. You would need a guru or someone like that probably to give his or her own method. Each of them had different methods. So when yoga really was in fruition, you get people who could twist their, part of it was to show how masterful you were. They could twist their leg around their neck or something, or could make their stomach go in and out, or could, I don't know. There's a guy now, I think there's a guy crawling to the Pakistan border or something across India, or rolling. I think he's rolling. He's rolling. The guy rolling to the border. He's been rolling for like 2 years. There's all kinds of ways to show. Or like people would stick, nails in themselves, or run on beds of hot coals. I mean, actually, you could probably run on a bed of hot coals even without yoga, as long as you get your mind focused and go fast enough and keep your legs moving pretty quickly. It's like going on some hot sand in the beach in a way. It's a little hotter. If you don't keep the feet down for any length of time, you probably won't get too burned. And if your feet have become a little bit calloused related to it, you probably wouldn't have too much trouble. But you want to keep your feet moving. I don't think any of those hot coal runners ever stand still in the middle of the fire. So these are like some kinds of tricks, and breathing tricks and so on and so on. But those take different teachers. So this is a handbook, and it's around the 3rd century and 2nd century BC. And as I told you last time, I've always suspected some possible, because there's many Christians who like, or for a time anyway, like this Krishna consciousness. It always seemed to me that those two words were a little too close together in terms of the sound and the spelling for comfort, and that you say, well, what happened? I don't know what happened, but I think ideas were moving westward from the east. And I don't say just the Krishna idea moved into the Christ idea, though, but I think the Buddha and the Krishna idea probably moved into the Christ idea. Because the Christ idea is not a Palestinian idea. The Christ idea, as we have it in Christian practice and religion primarily, developed in Paul's writings. That's where you really see it. The Gospels are an attempt to historicize things, make it look like this happened in history. Whether it happened in history or not would depend on how cynical the person reading them are. When I was young, I believed everything I read in the Gospels. When I'm older now, I don't believe very, very much of it. It's just a matter of youth and experience. When you're young, you believe everything people tell you. When you get older, as Paul said, when I was a child, I saw as a child. When I was a man, I grew up and put away childish things. A lot of people are children their whole lives. So you say, well, how come my parents are still doing this? Well, many people are childlike. Sometimes when I look at myself in the mirror and talk to myself, though I may look a certain age, I feel like I'm 15. I don't feel like I'm an aged person. And it's only that other way others see you. In your mind, you're just a kid still. And you never do grow up, actually. You say, well, what, am I old yet? Am I old? Am I supposed to be old? And only because other people are telling you that they're calling you dad or granddad or whatever, then you're supposed to be old. But actually, when you're just communing with yourself, you're just a kid. You never are old. You still got parents, you still got mom and dad, you still got all this other stuff. And the fact you have other accoutrements really don't have great effect. So what I'm trying to say is that when you're young, often these things are more puzzling to you than when you get older. And when you get older, since you've never seen these things in your lifetime, you begin to set them aside a little bit and worry about it. So, as I said, the Gospels I thought were totally true when I was young, and now I have more doubts, but I don't expect you to follow what I think. But the point is that the original writings of Christianity are in people like Paul. They came before the Gospels, and those writings look a lot like things from further east. They don't look Palestinian at all in the sense of the kind of ideas that he's promoting, because in Palestine you didn't have an idea of a supernatural being who could do miraculous things. That's already a yoga type thing and a Buddha type thing. And the Christ as a concept that comes onto someone in the form of a dove. There's nothing in previous Old Testament literature that even remotely resembles or anticipates that. So anyway, I don't want to get too deep into it, but you say, how could the influences occur? Well, we're going to have a spate of movies coming on now about Alexander the Great. There's at least 2 movies coming online about Alexander the Great. How far east did Alexander get?
India.
He got to India. With armies, with big armies. He conquered swaths of territory. He didn't even have to get as far as India. He could have just got to Persia, and these ideas were already coming into through Persia. You had lots of Buddhist and other ideas coming into Persia, Iran as we now call it, and so on. But he met yogis, swamis, whatever you want.